What's up, everybody? Welcome to Indies Live. Hello, hello, hello. It's Wednesday, 2 o'clock here where I am, and probably 2 o'clock where some of you guys are, and other times where the rest of you are. It's been a week. Time zones. How are you? I hope you guys are all doing super well. Looks like we got a whole bunch of great comments, questions here. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Give me a what's up in the chat here or in Facebook. I'm gonna be looking at both. I hope you guys are having a great week. It's a beautiful sunny day here in Virginia, and we're just kicking it. Cruising through the week, got a lot of exciting stuff happening. So I'm looking forward to getting into your questions and hopefully getting you guys on the right track with anything that you might have kind of burning in your minds. So yeah, excited to get into it. Like I said, say what's up. Gloria, hey. Jacob, what's going on? Appreciate you guys being here. And thanks for jumping in the chat. I really, really appreciate it. Glad to know that I am heard. That's always good. Well, I'm stoked to get into things with you guys. If you're new here, welcome to Indies Live. This is a Q&A session where I go over any burning questions that you might have about your music marketing, and anything I can help with and answer, I would be happy to. So feel free to drop me a question in either of the chats on Facebook or here in the live chat on the watch page. And it looks like we've got a lot of great questions here from Emily, from Jacob, from Roy, from Jen, from Greg. Greg, what's up? Glad you're here, man. From Billy, from Steve, and a bunch of comments and questions in the chat as well. So I'm pumped to get into it and hear what you guys are working on. So let's just refresh this watch page one more time here and make sure that I've caught everything. If you guys can do me a favor, if you have any questions while we're live here on the stream, please drop them in the chat rather than in the comments section. That way I don't have to keep refreshing the page. But I'm looking forward to getting into things. So let's do it. And see what you guys got going on. So I'm gonna start with the comments here, and then we can get into the chats. But if you guys have any follow-up questions, feel free to drop them in either Facebook or on this watch page. So let's see. I'm going to actually share my screen so we can read things down here. Oh, there's me. Oh, my display capture's not working. That's really weird. All right, you know what? Let's just go back to live rather than trying to sort that out. We'll start off with Emily's comment here. Emily said, "Hi, Jack. I managed an 8-piece funky jam band called Jeremy Beck and the Heavy Duty Horns. I dig that name. Very cool. I arrived at Indepreneur after we'd already released our EP, so we're working a little bit backwards. We set up a great fan finder that has been getting tons of engagement at a low cost, and we have been greenlight warmth boosting at least one post video a week for further education to these folks. However, our permission campaign isn't performing very well. We aren't getting many subscribers from it. We don't have an album experience since the album's already released, so we're just trying to get people onto our MailChimp mailing list. Our offer is get a sneak peek of our new unreleased song, plus be entered for a chance to win some sweet JBHDH gear. Do you think the poor performance of our permission campaign is due to a poor offer? Do you have any other tips or best practices for artists who are trying to boost their mailing list versus doing an album launch? For reference, our squeeze page is here. Also, a technical question. In MailChimp forms, how do you recommend collecting subscribers' locations without having them fill out a super long form? I saw that postal code is only for the U.S., and the full mailing address form seems a bit intense to have everyone fill out. Any tips? We'd love to target people by location when we start touring again. Thanks so much for your advice." Cool. Great questions, Emily. Thanks for sharing. And I'm glad that your fan finder is going well. I'm glad that the Greenlight warmth boosting is doing the work to get people in the know about the band. So that's very cool. Now, with regards to your permission offer and your bribe, it's tough to say for sure without having everything in front of me and being able to see what your ads are looking like, how your cost per lead is, what your actual lead flow, the number of subscribers that are coming in based on what you're spending. So not sure if you're in here, but if you want to give me any more context, that would be awesome. But if not, let's just talk about the offer a little bit. So you mentioned that you don't have an album launch. That's totally fine. There's plenty of different kinds of bribes that you can run. But your offer right now is get a sneak peek of our new unreleased song, plus be entered for a chance to win some sweet gear from the band. I'm looking at the squeeze page that you put together. And it says just that, get a sneak peek of our new song, plus you'll be entered for a chance to win gear, get the goods, and then it takes them to a sign-up form with their email and their first name. So a couple thoughts on this. Again, this is all context dependent based on what you're seeing. It could be just that the ad is, not doing the work, but I would say, based on what you've kind of given me here, that you might have an offer problem going on. I think the big takeaway that I would go with is that right now your offer isn't really too specific, get a sneak peek of our new song. What that says to my mind is get a free download of it. Plus you'll be entered for a chance to win some gear. But nothing about that offer and the way you're putting it together is really telling them what they're going to get when they sign up. It's kind of vague. Get a sneak peek. What does a sneak peek mean, right? Is it just a snippet of the song? Is it an instrumental version? Is it, an early access kind of deal where they're getting it before it releases? If you're releasing a stream of singles, you can kind of see what I'm getting at here. A sneak peek of our new song doesn't really explain what they're going to get. So then it doesn't drive that desire from these fans that it's something that's actually cool. Cool and something that people would, want to sign up for. Right now, it's just kind of like a vague, nebulous offer. So what I would recommend doing is pivoting your offer or just refactoring your offer a little bit. Let's just say it's for a new song that you haven't released yet, but I'm gonna make an assumption here that you don't have a steady stream of singles. It's just you've got a new song that you're preparing to come out, a new single, but maybe you don't have follow-ups. Just for the example's sake of this kind of learning moment. What I would say is, what could you put together to give that sneak peek? Could it be a behind-the-scenes studio session of the making of the song, which kind of gives teasers of it throughout? Could you let them into the studio where you were making that song? So could they go behind the scenes of the making of the new song before it's released? Could that be, the bribe? And you can let them know, we're going to take you on a video studio tour of the making of our new single. No one else is seeing this content. It's not living on Facebook. It's not living on YouTube. It's not living anywhere else. It's only to people who sign up to get this. So you can kind of craft some content around this idea of the sneak peek. That's the recommendation that I would take to make this a little more compelling, a little more exclusive. Just pad it with more content. Because like I said, right now, the word sneak peek doesn't really tell me what they're actually going to get. And with regards to the gear, the merch, I would be more specific about that too. If you're going to make this a double kind of bribe where they're getting something for signing up and they're going to be entered into a contest, be clear about what that contest is. Make it, if this is something that you're going to do ongoing, change up the prize every month. It could be Jeremy Beck and the Heavy Duty Horns headphones, right? A pair of headphones that you've got 2 pairs of them and you're giving away 2 this month to 2 lucky winners. Be more specific in your bribe. And I think that will kind of work to take this to the next level. Because right now, like I said, the offer is kind of vague. So if I were to guess based on what you've told me, and I don't I don't have the full ability to audit everything right now. That would be my take on what's going on here. So I would work to make your offer more specific and spell out explicitly what they're going to get on the other side once they sign up. I think that will definitely help move it in the right direction. It'll also give you more creativity of what you can do with ads, of what you can do with this landing page. You can really speak out to your fans in the messaging what they're going to get. And you can say it in a variety of different ways. You can get creative, you can get quirky and funny, you can get serious and tell a story. It's way easier to do that when you've got the details spelled out to yourself and then to your fans. So that would be my recommendation. In addition to that, there's a ground report that I did probably, I want to say around this time last year, inside your Indie Pro dashboard, that you should take a peek at. It's a ground report that's specifically on permission bribes, and I think that will give you some insight. And we do have a permission marketing for musicians training coming out within the next month or so. So I think that will also answer a lot of your questions. So I'm excited to see what you come up with. But to start here, I would definitely say getting into just nailing down your offer and making it a little bit more explicit will do wonders for you. Whether that be adding content to it or just further clarifying, what the content on the other side is. That would be my starting point. So hopefully that helps. Now, with regards to your MailChimp form question, collecting subscriber locations without having them fill out super long form. So generally speaking, I tend to shy away and recommend away from using MailChimp's built-in forms and using some other kind of lead capture, whether that be an embedded form on a website that you can customize a little bit more than what you can do with MailChimp, or a ClickFunnels opt-in page, or even using ManyChat. And I mentioned ManyChat because what you could do is run like a location grabber inside ManyChat, run JSON ads into it, with the JSON code, so that when they click, it brings them into a flow. And then you could ask, what city are you from? What state are you from? What country are you from? But do it in a way that feels human and fun, and not like they're filling out a college application or something like that. That would be my recommendation as far as kind of getting a cool, human, fun element into it. If you wanted to use ManyChat, you could do that kind of thing. As far as like standard opt-in form goes, I would say my recommendation would be just going with, depending on, who you're targeting, you could just start with city and region, or city, state, city, region. That could help as well. That way it would shorten up the form a little bit. But yeah, generally speaking, I would say either using ManyChat to do that, because it can ease some of the the headache that people might feel, or that you might worry that people would feel with filling out long form. Or doing it in a different kind of form outside of MailChimp, and then zapping that information in through Zapier, or having it on a spreadsheet or something like that. You may also want to look to not get all of that information all in one permission campaign. I don't know if that's what you were thinking, but you could have dedicated campaigns, one where you're trying to get email captures specifically to build up your list, and then working from there to nurture those people towards getting the rest of the information that you want from them. That might help as well with the lead flow, depending on if that's something you were already trying and you felt like it was stalling your process, or adding some friction to the opt-in. Couldn't tell from this opt-in page, but something to consider if you were trying it before. So hopefully that helps you out. If you're in here, let me know. If not, share the progress with us in the Indies group for sure, because I'm looking forward to see what you come up with. So yeah, hopefully it helps. Let's see what's going on next here. Jacob said, "Hi Jack, regarding the limited amount of countries you now recommend to target in the fan finder because of suspected bot activity, is there any update on when it's okay to target European countries? I write neoclassical music, and first many of these artists are not targetable in Facebook, and many are also European, so they're not that big outside of Europe. I often end up with relatively smaller audiences when testing against each other, still interest-based. How small of an audience can you work with? Is 2 to 300,000 per audience enough? Hey, Jacob, that's a good question. 2 to 300,000 is a little bit small. Generally, I would say like the minimum is like 500,000. And then going up from there. Regarding your question about audiences, though, and countries, Corinne does have her green light warmth countries list inside the green light warmth boosting training, and that has all of the countries that are okay to be targeting based on bot activity, and Corinne keeps that updated week to week. So it's a really good resource to have just as you're considering these things. Let me pull it up right now, actually. Yeah, so the latest green light country list, and some of these are European countries, so this might help you out. Australia, Austria, Canada, Denmark, Germany, Ireland, the Netherlands, New Zealand, Norway, Sweden, Switzerland, UK, and US. So hopefully that helps you out and gives you some more countries to target. Now, in terms of watching these safely, making sure that these don't go crazy. In terms of bots, like that's something to just be paying attention to. Obviously, like this list is getting updated, but if you see a certain country really take over your spend and the engagement just isn't there, you suspect there to be bots as you're running your campaign, then yeah, pivot away from using that country. But generally speaking, these are totally safe, and you can get started there. So hopefully that helps you, man. That's just an update on country targeting. There's also some other helpful pro tips on that list as well. So hopefully that gives you some ammunition for your campaign. Roy said, "Hey Jack, how do I run a retargeting campaign for anyone who visits my sales page? Every time I visit a company's website, I immediately see ads on Facebook and Instagram for their products. I've got a pixel on the site, so I can target the website visitors, but which campaign objective do I use? How do I set the budget? Because if it's set to $5 a day, but let's say the past week nobody visits the website, how does Facebook use those $5? Is there a way to only spend the money when someone visits my website and gets a retargeting ad? Thanks." Hey, Roy. Great question, man. What I would recommend that you do is for your campaign objective, depending on how much traffic you have to your site, retargeting ads for products. Generally speaking, if you've got a smaller amount of traffic, and it sounds like, that might be the case you were asking about, like in the past week, nobody visited the site. If you've got small audiences that are visitors, I would say using the reach objective would be your best bet, because if you're trying to use a conversions objective on a small retargeting audience, it's likely not to spend at all, because Facebook just doesn't have enough bulk in that audience to serve the ads to people that, for example, if you're running conversions objective, Facebook's taking the audience that you tell it to target. So let's say your 7-day website visitors and who didn't buy. And it's going to look for, if you're optimizing for conversions and looking for purchases, optimizing for the purchase objective, Facebook's going to look for people who are most likely to convert in that audience that you give them. So if you're working with small audience sizes, it's likely that Facebook's not going to show the ads to anybody because it's just not going to find enough people in that audience. So I would recommend using the reach objective to get your ads in front of the people that it needs to get in front of. If the audience spins out, like let's say, you're working with like a 7-day window for retargeting, if that audience spins out in like a week and there's just not anybody in it, Facebook won't spend your money. So you don't have to worry about it continuing to spend the money once people fall out of that audience. It will just stop until the audience refills back up enough for Facebook to start delivering your ads. There's not a way to spend the money only when someone visits your website and then gets a retargeting ad. It will show it it will deliver ads and spend your budget based on the parameters that you set in your audience. So if you're looking for people who are hitting your website, not buying in the past 7 days, that's who it will target specifically. So, that does work so that it only spends the money when someone visits your website in that time frame. If there's nobody in that audience in the past 7 days, it just won't spend. So hopefully that helps, man. I would say use the reach objective. Start with small budgets. Probably $5 a day if you're working with a small audience will be more than fine. I would start there. There's the case to be made for using the catalog sales objective as well if you're working with a Shopify store, for example, and linking up your product catalog to Facebook ads, but that's a little bit more of an advanced subject. And gets involved with retargeting based on add to carts and view content standard events. Sounds like that might not be what you need to dive into just yet. So I would say starting with reach objective, if you've got a small audience, and kicking things off there is probably your best bet. So hopefully that helps you out, man. If you have any other questions or you hit any snags, feel free to drop it in the group and we'll kick it around. Let's jump up in the chat here real quick. I want to make sure that I'm not missing any follow-up questions. Jacob, cool, man. I'm glad that it helped. Cool beans. All right. Let's get back into it then. Man, you guys are killing it with the questions today. This is just great. These are so good. Jen said, any advice for getting more subscribers on YouTube, aside from adding incentives for current followers to subscribe? Already did that and it got a few. Just looking for other ideas. Hey, Jen, great question. I would say if you're looking to get more subscribers on YouTube, the simple answer, this is my biggest piece of advice for people that are trying to grow their YouTube channel, is consistency in creating. That's going to be where your biggest subscriber growth is going to happen. Just being consistent in your growth, or being consistent in your content creation. Make YouTube a part of your recurring content. So if that looks like making sure that you're posting a video every Monday, for example, make a series that people can come to expect each and every Monday, each and every Tuesday, 2 days a week, 3 days a week, whatever it might look like, a live stream once a week. Plan it out with whatever makes sense for you, your artistry, and your brand, and the kind of stuff that you're working to create, and be consistent and stick to it. That's going to be the biggest hurdle to get over when it comes to growing your subscribers on YouTube. I would start there, and I would also include calls to action wherever possible to your warm audience. So your super signature in your email campaigns, for example, is a great place to remind people, hey, this is what I do on YouTube each week. Make sure that you're subscribed so that you get updates. Having those kind of call to actions, in addition to incentives where you can be really, really useful. So yeah, that would be my biggest piece of advice, is just consistency on the platform is the key to growth, really. That would be my biggest recommendation. So I hope that it helps. All right, I'm going to look at the Facebook comments. Okay, cool. You guys are quiet on Facebook. All good, though. Let's just refresh this page just to make sure that I'm not missing anything. Tight. All right, perfect. So, Greg said, Greg, what's up, man? Glad you're here. Greg is one of my OG Indies Live peeps. He's been on Indies Live with me ever since I probably started doing them. with the gang. So glad you're here, man. Greg said, okay, the plan is to do a live stream Zoom style concert, stream it to Facebook, IG, YouTube, and Twitch simultaneously. It'll be a free watch. Then I want to use footage from that set as my follow-up to the Fan Finder. Whoever watches the Fan Finder can watch a song from that performance. Then I want to use that live album as a free plus shipping and handling offer to whomever watches both the Fan Finder and the ad from the set, and use my bundle of 5 previous CDs with songs from the set as an upsell, plus a shirt upsell maybe. And once this is up and running, I can do an album launch or a single or something. Is this the way? This is the way. What am I missing? How can I maximize this stream, get the most targetable data from the stream? How can I build the machine so I can get out of the grocery store life? Also, what's up, dude? What's up, man? Great question and a cool idea. I really dig it. So a couple thoughts for you in terms of maximizing the stream and getting the most targetable data out of it. What's cool is when you're doing the stream, because you'll be streaming it to Facebook, you will be able to retarget based on that stream's video views. So that's pretty tight because you'll have that video data right there. So that's great. That will definitely give you some targetable data that maybe you didn't think about. I think your ideation about how to follow up the stream is pretty cool. With a free plus shipping and handling offer of the live album, that can be a really, really good offer. We've had a couple IndieX clients actually do kind of like spin-off record offers. One of the bands actually did like a live recording of one of their shows, and then they spun that off into a live CD that you could only get through one of their funnels. And it was really dope. Their fans really dug it. So I think this kind of thing could be really, really cool. Here's an idea for you. I think it will be cool. I know you want to make it a free watch, and I think that's great. And having it multicast to Facebook, IG, YouTube, and Twitch is really, really cool. What you could look at doing, and I'm just kicking around ideas with you now, but in terms of maximizing this, I think using the stream as some kind of way to kind of get some low-hanging fruit opt-ins for your list would be a great place to start. Even if you are doing it publicly, you could make an opt-in campaign around this idea of the stream and say, like, I'm going to be hosting a secret live stream, and I'm not going to announce the date. I'm not announcing the date yet, but if you want to be one of the first people to know, drop your email. And also, if you sign up for this live stream, for this free live stream, I've got a special surprise for you that's going to come your way after the fact. So gives people a little bit of a curiosity bender. Also, teases the sign up to get them to kind of gets them desiring when the stream is actually going to happen if you're not announcing it right away. So it kind of gives them, like, you're going to have early access to know when this is happening so that you can be, like, front and center, ready to go, marked on your calendar. I think that would be a good way to capture some data in terms of emails. And the reason I mention that is for those people that are on the live stream, being able to follow up with them with an email pretty quickly with that free plus shipping and handling offer would be really, really tight. Because likely if they watched the show and really dug it, and you've got their email, you could hit them with the, hey, you caught the stream. Thanks for being there. Here's the surprise. I recorded the whole thing and I put together a dope live recorded CD of it that's, only exclusively available to you right now. I want you to get your hands on it before anybody else. And so here's the way to do it. And then you could, include your upsells and your bundles and things like that to maximize that cart value. But I think at that as your front end could be really, really cool. And then, you've got the initial idea that you were talking about, running your fan finder, following up with footage from the show, the live stream, and then retargeting with the free plus shipping and handling offer as well. But I think having this kind of multi-tiered approach to all of this could be really, really cool. And give you multiple ways to succeed at it. but mostly, if you can get some opt-ins prior to the stream happening that you can then follow up with right after with an offer, you're truncating down the amount of time, and it could work really, really, really well, because people are likely going to be hyped up and excited about it. So that would be my kind of my initial ideas here that you could include into this. Hopefully that helps, man. I think that'll help you to kind of pick up the low-hanging fruit of people who are kind of most excited in your world and hanging out. They're going to want to sign up to get the deets on this big event, and they're likely going to want to take you up on the offer after they watch the live stream, especially if it's a free plus shipping and handling offer. So I would say those would be my recommendations off the top of my head here. And then the rest of what you've got kicking around in your brain sounds really cool for like a longer term funnel structure. So I would say go for it. Hopefully this kind of gives you some more ideas to work with and helps you fill in the gaps. But I'm really excited to see what you do with it, man. So drop more in the group as it's developing, and go crush. It's awesome. Billy said, oh, Facebook keeps removing my comments, claiming they're spam. I have a landing page that I'd like to get feedback on. I can send the link during the live stream if that works. Not sure how else to get it over to you. Hey, Billy, what's up, man? I'd be happy to answer questions about what you might be dealing with your landing page. This is not an audit session, more of a Q&A, so I probably won't have time to audit it right here and now, because I got a lot of these questions that I got to get through. But if you got questions specific to what you're doing with the landing page, I'd be happy to answer them. If you want to save the opt-in page for an audit session for INDIESLIVE, definitely feel free to share with us there or drop it in the group. Would love to check it out for sure. But yeah, man, let me know. And let me know if you have any questions. And if not, all good. But would be happy to help where I can. And let's see. Steve said, hey, Jack, I've seen this going around ad buyers for a while and wanted your thoughts on no matter where you are in your funnel, always optimize for your ultimate conversion. The idea, as I understand it, is whatever you tell Facebook to do, get video views, leads, add to carts or sales. It sorts through whatever audience we give it to find people who have triggered those events. Applied in our case, when we fill up our top of funnel with a fan finder optimizing for video views, we're not necessarily filling it with buyers. And from top to bottom through a funnel, we might be better off optimizing for sales or leads on a fan finder. I can see how it might deviate as per the difference between a fan and a buyer, but have you any experience with this approach? Hey, Steve, that's a good question, man, and thanks for asking. That is a conversation that goes around a lot in like media buying circles for sure. And you're totally right about how Facebook is sorting through audiences and delivering your ads to people who are most likely to take a certain conversion event. So whether that's video views, leads, add to carts, purchases, that's exactly what Facebook is doing. This conversation about optimizing for your ultimate conversion, I often see that in context of like straight cold traffic e-commerce, right? So talking about people who are directly running, they might be running a video campaign, but it's likely directly at the end of, there might be a link. There probably is a link, pointing people to a product page, which is bringing people through a checkout, which is bringing them to finally a confirmation page after they buy. So there's a direct linear process from ad to purchase. If we're calling that let's call that our ultimate conversion that someone would be aiming for. So in those kind of cases, it can make sense, especially when you're working with big audiences, especially like big cold traffic audiences or big warm traffic audiences that have been built up over time, whether that be through website traffic or something else. That can make a lot of sense. In our cases, where you're running fan finder traffic, top of funnel, if you're asking Facebook to optimize for purchases, but there's not really a purchase process happening anywhere in that ad experience. There's really no call to action, because we're not sending people anywhere. We're not sending them off the platform, right in that ad experience. I don't see the benefit to doing that, because likely what you're going to be doing then is you'll be running a conversions campaign, with no link, and that's not really something that you can do anyway. You'd have to run some other kind of campaign, or put a link in it, and kind of violate this idea of what you're doing with FanFinder, and not breaking the wall of someone discovering what you're trying to do, of your music, discovering your music. You kind of be breaking that, including a link, by optimizing for conversions. But from a technical perspective, you're going to have a smaller, a more limited size audience. Facebook is going to likely show it to less people than what you might find if you're working with a big, broad audience when optimizing for video views, because Facebook has a lot of data on video viewers. That's part of the reason that you can get so much scale at the top of the funnel, in terms of audience. With conversions campaign, one, your CPMs are going to be more expensive, just because of the fact that you're running a conversions objective and targeting, or optimizing for the purchase conversion event. And there's just, generally speaking, a smaller subset of audience that you're going to reach over time. So I don't have personal experience running it this way. I don't think that it would be something that I would recommend right off the top of my head. I think that it could be interesting to test, but I haven't seen a use case for it where it made sense to run it that way, especially given that the amount of time, generally speaking, from first video touch, first ad touch to purchase is quite long, in the case of the kinds of strategies and funnels that we're talking about in our trainings. So something to think about there. It's definitely interesting. If you end up testing it, I'd love to see the results that you get into, but haven't run with it on any of our IndieX clients, or I haven't done any of it myself personally, mostly because I haven't seen a need to. But if you do end up trying it out, I'd be curious to see what you come up with. So please keep me posted. I think I might have seen you post in the group about this a while back, and I feel like I caught it and then meant to go back. So if you did, I'm glad you brought it here. So thanks for sharing, man. Hopefully this helps. I don't know if you're in here, so I'm going to check the chat real quick. Cool. All right. Dickie said, "Hi, Jack. I'm trying to get my head around the ultimate album launch training, as the album is launching on digital stores on the 4th of September, and I have 2 questions. First, I'm planning on starting the album launch journey 10 days of content from that date. Is there guidance to when we should run the album launch campaign, i.e., should I run it up to the launch date or start after the launch date, or does it not matter? My other question is that I'm thinking of offering the album on CD as a bribe, free plus shipping and handling, and then offering an upgrade to a limited edition deluxe as the bump, including limited edition prints, signed CD, etc. Do you think that would work, or should I offer something else as a bump? I also have buttons, stickers packed, posters, t-shirts. I'm a bit lost as to what merch is best to run with at these stages. Thanks in advance for your help, Dickie." Hey, Dickie, good question, man. Looking at your first question here, you said you were planning on starting the album launch journey 10 days of content from that date. Is there guidance on when we should run the album launch campaign? Should it run up to the launch date or start after the launch date? Does it matter? I don't think it matters too much if you are scrambling to... I think ideally, it's great if you can run it leading up to launch date and have your sales offer happen when the album goes live on digital stores. That way, you don't experience any potential funnel leak where people are going elsewhere to listen to the music or maybe to buy on iTunes or something like that. So the ideal scenario, in my opinion, is to run it up into the day where it drops everywhere else, and then, or potentially, doing it way ahead of time before it drops anywhere else, and just having the funnel be like its own kind of experience leading into things and making it very, very exclusive, as in like it's not going to be anywhere else. But that's a whole different discussion. I would say ideally running the 10 days up into the 4th, and then starting your sales offers on that day. But if you're in a squeeze, it's not the absolute worst thing in the world if you can't do that. But that would just be my recommendation for you. Hopefully that helps on that question and makes sense. Now, in terms of your offer, you said here you were thinking of offering the album on CD as a bribe, free plus shipping and handling, and then offering an upgrade to a limited edition deluxe as the bump, including limited edition prints, signed CD, things like that. What I would recommend is, rather than going straight free plus shipping and handling, I would go with your and this is kind of something that we go over in the Ultimate Album Launch training. So if you're still going through it, hopefully this makes sense. I would go with your core offer being the limited edition deluxe edition of the record, with the prints, with the signed CD, with anything else that you're including, the buttons, the sticker packs, a poster. I would go with that as your core offer. And then having some other kind of smaller order bump. So the order bump could potentially be your buttons or your sticker pack or a poster. That could be your kind of lower priced order bump. And then a shirt as your upsell offer. I would go with that rather than going with a free plus shipping and handling as your core offer in your funnel, because you're more likely to make your money back that way. You'll have a better chance of monetizing this funnel in a way that's break even or profitable, or even if you're working at a loss, at less of a loss, if you're running an offer that is asking people in exchange for money. You're giving a ton of value through the 10 days of the content, and really leading them through a journey with you, really nurturing them through that. That's what the Ultimate Album Launch is really good for, is it takes people through the process of permission, nurtures them with your album's content, and then leads them into the affirmation stage of the buddy system and puts the ask in front of them and says, if you think that this was cool, if you think that this offer looks great and it's something that's right for you, this is the gift at the end of the museum, so to speak, or at the end of the Disney park ride. Here it is. Do you want it? It costs money. This is what it costs. Look at all this cool stuff that's in it, and go with that. I would go that direction. And then if you wanted to offer free plus shipping and handling down the line to people who don't take you up on your core offer, you could do that as a way to incentivize those people who didn't take you up on the offer, rescue some purchases there in a way that moves them from being just subscribers into customers, and potentially even make some money on your bumps and upsells on that portion of your campaign later down the line. But I would go straight with a core offer. What you were thinking would be an upgrade. I would say make that your core offer. Like I said, we go into that more in the Ultimate Album Launch training. So if you're trying to get through it, I would definitely review the lessons on putting your offer together and building your sales page and your checkout, and that will hopefully clear up any misconceptions about what to be offering. But I hope this helps, man. It sounds like it's a big endeavor. I know that Ultimate Album Launch is a weighty training, and it takes a lot of implementation. So I wish you all the best with it. Keep us in the loop as you're working through it here, and hopefully these recommendations help. I would 100% say go with an offer that people have to raise their hand for and take. Ask them for some money. You're giving them a ton of value on the front. You're packing a lot of value into the offer. Don't be afraid to make that first sales offer in this funnel. You can go free plus shipping and handling after the fact. I think that that's the way to go. I've seen it work, time and time again for a lot of different kinds of artists. So I would say go for it. hopefully that helps, man. I would love to check out what it is that you're putting together for your launch. So feel free to share it with us in the group. Would love to check it out. Let's get into... Oh, Dickie, you got some follow-up questions. Cool, man. Regarding funnel leak to Spotify, you mentioned, I noticed that in the training, Nino Bless content pages featured a link to the track on Spotify, so I was going to do that, but would you recommend not doing that? Thanks for your answers to both questions. No, man, you could totally do that. If the music is live on Spotify, you can go for it. The funnel leak that I was referring to was funnel leak out of... I mean, Spotify can definitely be a place where funnel leak can happen. But I was more so referring to people going and buying the record other places or kind of losing their interest. But so long as you've got content in your like your content days that you're dripping out to them, that's really, really compelling, and you're keeping them focused and attentive, and there's a good reason for them to be there beyond just listening to the music, you're not going to experience, too much of a crazy leak. That's totally fine to have in there to give them their choice of where they can stream the music. I was more so referring to things that can distract them from the sale at the end. So like, having links to purchase on iTunes and things like that is not something that I would recommend. So yeah, hopefully that helps. Or, buying on Amazon or something like that. Leading them towards the sale in your funnel is what you want to be doing. So yeah, man. Hopefully that helps you. Looking forward to seeing what you come up with. I'm going to get into some of the questions here in the chat in our last 10 minutes or so and see what's up. Matt, what's up, man? Newbie question. Matt said, where do you find the best time in your day to do this music marketing and all that it entails when juggling life, family, career, etc.? What works best in your opinion? Oh man, that is a loaded question. I think it depends a lot on you and your schedule, and I hate saying that it depends because it sounds like a cop-out, but it's true. Me personally, I find that I do some of my best work. Interestingly enough, I find that I do some of my best work in the morning before I'm distracted by other things like meetings or needing to cook or do things around the house. But that can vary from person to person, and also depending what you're doing for work. I don't know if you're full-time with music or if you're just getting into doing your own music marketing, or if you've got a day job, or if you've got a business that you run or something like that. But I guess my big recommendation and what works best is finding a block of time or a few blocks of time, whether that be an hour block in the morning and an hour block in the evening, or a 3-hour block in the morning, and that's your time. And just setting that on your schedule and setting time for yourself to say, this is the time where I do, these set things, and putting that on your schedule and making it something that you can commit to, rather than being free form about it and trying to find time, day to day and being like, oh, where does this fit into my day? Like setting aside a time for yourself to do the things that you need to do to move your project forward, and build out, anything in your music marketing is probably the biggest recommendation that I would make. Setting aside, looking at your schedule and kind of what your day-to-day life is like, and blocking out, like, okay, on Tuesdays, I know that before breakfast, I'm going to spend an hour on writing copy or writing a song. It could be down to even the more creative parts of your career in terms of, your artistry, creating music. I mean, I'm going to spend an hour writing a song, like on Monday through Wednesday before breakfast from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. I write music. On Thursday and Friday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. I work on my social media. I engage with my fans on Facebook or something like that. Maybe from 7 to 9 in the evenings, Monday through Friday, I work on building out my fan finder campaign, or I work on building out my whole marketing stack as things evolve. That would be my kind of recommendation, is just setting aside, looking at your life, looking at your schedule, and finding times to block out that you can do the things that you need to do, so that you're not trying to randomly fit it in day to day, week to week. So yeah, man, I hope that helps. Not the most amazing answer. I wish I could give you better specifics. But without knowing more about you and more about what you do, that's kind of like my blanket answer, at least for getting started. So hopefully that helps you. Amber said, when's the right time to move from running fan finders to running permission campaigns? That's a good question, Amber. I mean, it's pretty context dependent, especially if you've got warm audience already built up. If you're starting from scratch, I would say running fan finder for a while and really having something dialed in, and getting your warm audience, and I'm talking about like people who are engaging with you, looking at your metrics like your Facebook page engagement, your Instagram profile or Instagram page engagement, your 75% viewers on those fan finders, getting those up to a sizable amount of audience, well above what it would, well above what it would take to build a lookalike audience. I see a lot of misconceptions in the group where people say like, okay, I've got 1,000 people in my 75% video views audience. Does that mean I built a lookalike? Can I now start retargeting those people with an offer for an opt-in? Can I move them into the permission stage? But like, that's not really a lot of people, I think the best answer I can give is, when you begin to run fan finders, to start thinking about the kinds of bribes that you can be putting out there, and start getting those into place kind of throughout your stack. So having something living on your website, have something living in your ManyChat bot if you've got ManyChat or something else. Have some kind of opt-in bribes sort of happening and hanging out there for people to take advantage of. Those automatic buddies that come in through your fan finder, having that in place, pretty quickly. And then I would say from there, as you build up a kind of critical mass of audience, getting into the tens of thousands, in those deeper engaged metrics, your 75% views, then start looking to build campaigns to retarget those people, because then you're getting more and more people into them, into the audiences that you can retarget. It's giving Facebook enough data to work with, enough people to work with, to show your ads, to optimize for, conversion events and get you going. So kind of a roundabout answer, but I think there's not a right moment, there's moments throughout running introduction stage campaigns that I think you need to be looking at, even from the very beginning. Having something in place early on that people can take advantage of organically is really important. And then, as that audience size builds up, you can then move to do more active kinds of campaigns for permission stage. That's what I would recommend. So hopefully that helps. Christopher says, hey Christopher, what's up? Christopher says, I'm more of an electronic music producer and not really a performer, so for my fan finder, it's just two dancers. Some indies are saying a video without my face is kind of a waste. Your thoughts? Hey Chris, yeah man, that can be a real challenge. Wow, we've had a ton of discussions about electronic music and what kind of fan finders work well. I think without having some kind of performance element or you in it can lead to a breakdown in later stages, especially as you're trying to like educate these people, nurture them, move them towards getting onto your list, signing up, getting them to become subscribers. Not having you in the video without your face, like you said, can be kind of like a bottleneck. So I definitely wouldn't want you to go down that path unknowingly. Not to say that your video wouldn't work or wouldn't get you views, but it may not work deeper down your funnel. So I would search the group if you haven't already, because there's been a number of different discussions about the kinds of videos that work well for electronic music, or can work well for electronic music production. When it comes to fan finder campaigns. But think about things like performance videos or looping videos where you're creating the music on the spot, and really kind of showcasing the talent that it takes to be an electronic producer. That can work really well for those kinds of fans. So I would check that out. Like I said, search in the Indie Pro group, and just kind of dig into that idea. I would say, like, if you can iterate on some of those ideas and make them feel like they're your own, that would be really, really solid. There's been tons of discussion about that in the Indies group, so there's just going to be a wealth of information for you. So I hope that was helpful, just to kind of point you in that direction. But I would say, if you can, spin out something that has a bit of you in it. That way people know, like, I'm watching a video of an artist, even if there is stuff with the dancers in your video in it. Making that connection to new listeners is really, really important for later stages. So while it might work for you, or seem like it's working when you're, looking at your ad metrics, it's tough to say for sure until you start doing, deeper work into your buddy system, if it's actually going to pan out. So that's kind of the consideration to go into when thinking this way. So I hope that it helps, man. Gloria said, hey, I'm new here. Although I ran a fan finder 2 years ago with help, I have a bunch of saved audiences, but I can't figure out how to update this info. Do I need to start a new one? Not totally sure of what you mean by editing and updating the info, or starting a new one. If you're looking to edit your audiences in your previous fan finder, like you were looking at it and you're like, oh, why can't I edit these saved audiences? What you'll want to do, Gloria, is from your Facebook business manager, you'll want to, let me see if I can share my screen. Give me 1 second here. All right, it's not letting me share my screen. But when you're in your business manager and in your ad account, what you'll want to do is, in your top left corner, there's a little drop down where you see the little home button from your ad account. There's the business tools. You'll want to go to your audiences library. And then from there, what you can do is you can edit those saved audiences, and add in new interest or create new saved audiences and things like that. So I think that probably will answer the question for you. I hope that it helps. Let me know. William said, hey, Jack, apologies if this has been covered elsewhere, but I was wondering what your opinion is on Patreon as a method for monetizing your fan base. Hey, William, no need to apologize, man. Good question. Patreon can work really well for monetization. I would say, generally speaking, membership type sites like Patreon, where there's a recurring kind of fee, whether it be monthly or per content, work well in the ascension stage of the buddy system, which is where, generally speaking, people have already made a purchase of some kind with you, and then you can nurture them towards, membership of that kind. It can work really, really well. I think some people try to go right out the gate and say, like, I'm going to build up a fan base and then get them to pay me $25 a month. Well, the likelihood of that, unless like what you're doing in Patreon is seriously insane, and you can get that out there to your fans and make them, really want what you've got going on in there. The likelihood of that being the first purchase is really challenging, but it does work well at deeper stages after somebody is already a customer. At IndieX, we have a number of different artists that use membership sites, that use Patreon, or that used Patreon and then built their own membership site. And it can be really, really powerful, but it does come with this stipulation that I do think a lot of artists and a lot of indies get tied up in the idea of like, I'm going to make this the thing that is, the first monetization point. And a lot of times that just doesn't happen. I mean, maybe at the lowest tiers, like $1 a month, $2 a month, you can pick up some patrons or some members in that way, and have it be the first thing that they're doing. It can work, but generally speaking, it works best for people who have already purchased something from you, and then you nurture them towards that. You really lay out for them like what is the benefit of doing this? Why is this something that they would want to do with you after they've picked something up? So hopefully that helps, man. That's kind of my philosophy when it comes to Patreon, and where I think it really fits into things and fits in well. So yeah, hopefully that helps. Dickie, yeah, posted in the Indie Pro group. Sorry, I always call it the Indies group, but I'm talking about the Indie Pro group here. Yeah, post it in there, and share it with everybody. Cool. Well, I think we covered everything here. Man, you guys killed it with the questions today. I hope that the answers were helpful and get you guys on track with everything that you're working on. Like I said to pretty much everybody, post what you're working on in the group. Please share with us. Love to see what's going on, and that allows everybody to kind of help one another, which is the cool thing about this community that we've got going on here. So definitely, as you guys are working on things, drop it in the group and keep us posted on how it's all going. But I think we did it, gang. This was a fun Indies Live. I appreciate you guys sharing with me what you've got going on, and I'll be catching you soon on another Indies Live.